Voices united in harmony, echoes of the African sky. Reggie's beat like a rhythmic flow, weaving tales of unity and joy. In the heart of the bustling town, voices rise diverse and profound, from the drum's deep resonant sound to the melody of the tambourine's bound. Voices united in harmony, echoes of the African sky. Reggie's beat like a rhythmic flow, weaving tales of unity and joy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right into it. So, there was a time when Liberia was prosperous between the 40s and the early 70s, especially under the leadership of President William V.S. Tubman, who served from 44 to 71. This period is often remembered as a time of growth, infrastructure expansion, and foreign investment. President Tubman introduced the open door policy, which welcomed foreign companies to invest in Liberia. This brought in large corporations like Firestone and Bethlehem Steel. When the free slaves from the Caribbean and the United States arrived, they settled in Liberia by the American Colonization Society. That is when they were trying to get rid of black people after they didn't have any use for them in the United States. So they were looking for a way where they can go and dump these black folks that had no lineage with their home country, because it had been destroyed after 400 years. Nobody know where they came from, because the ancestor that brought them there, they've been dead. So they're looking for places to take these folks, and Liberia was one of those places that they choose. Joseph Jimmy Robert was the first president of Liberia, which was also American. So the system was set up in a way that would only benefit the settlers, not the indigenous people. And fast forward to Firestone. Then Firestone at the time, rubber was a very lucrative business. Firestone thought of Liberia because they took the free slave there and nobody said anything. So they said, okay, why not? Why not go to Liberia? And then we can plant a rubber plantation there. So they went in Liberia. They bought the land, 6 cents per acre. 6 cents per acre. And the same system they had in the South, they established the same thing over there. That's what they don't tell people. This is what they don't tell people. It was the same slave system. They will have the rubber sack on the bucket on both ends. They will put on a shoulder and then dump it. And the job was a hard job. The community, they tell them to stay closer so they can be able to get to the work faster. Was also a bad condition. The houses was not, and as you can look at some of these homes and see the condition, you can tell like even the bathroom wasn't in the house. You got to get out of the house to use the bathroom. And these people will work, hard labor job. So Firestone was all about money. They didn't care about the citizen. They brought the same slave treatment from the South to Liberia. They followed the free slave, even though they told them they were free, but they were not free. And these are things I'm going to be talking about, because a lot of people don't talk about these things. Sometimes maybe they're embarrassed, or maybe they don't want to talk about it, they don't want to confront it. But what I can tell you is that Liberia need to wake up. Simple as that. Need to wake up. Because we are the oldest country, man. Need to wake up. Liberia exported large amount of rubber, iron ore, and timber. Roads, hospitals, and schools were built, especially in Monrovia, not in the rural part. And people had the nerve to say we were not colonized. We were not colonized physically for you to see it, but we're colonized in paper. These are things I want Liberia to know, because I don't think a lot of the people in Liberia teach our history properly. They don't talk about all the things that were working on the ground. At the time, Liberia had one of the highest incomes per person in West Africa. And this is the reason why you see every African country basically they know about Liberia. Not only we got our independence early, but they all came to Liberia to work because of the money, because of the earning, and even the school system. So Liberia was prosperous at this time. The country also gained international respect. Liberia was a founding member of the United Nations in 1945. It played a strong role in supporting African countries seeking independence from colonial rule. Liberia was seen as a beacon of black leadership and democracy. But this prosperity did not reach everyone. Most of the wealth stayed in hands of the American Liberian elites. Indigenous Liberians were often left out of education, land ownership, and political power. The government was stable, but it was also tightly controlled and unequal. After Tubman died, and this is in 71, his successor, President Tauber, tried to make reforms because he looked at the system as bad. So he started to make reforms so that everybody else can benefit from this, the success of Liberia. But growing inequality, corruption, and frustration led to a military coup in 1980, which was led by Samuel Kyan Doe. Because this man, when Doe got there, after they have killed all his bodyguards outside.
William Talbert, a descendant of American slaves and a good friend of the U.S., was assassinated today in a coup led by an army enlisted man who said that they're fed up with the government corruption. The new head of the government is the 28-year-old sergeant named Samuel Doe.
They shot him dead. Executive mansion is very secure. When you are inside, the person outside cannot get into you. You busting in. So when he opened unarmed, all Doe needed to do was to arrest him, throw him in jail, or tell him to let him exile the country. That's what you're supposed to do. But you murdered a man, unarmed man. He's not even fighting you. Nothing. You murdered him. And after he killed Tauber, he grabbed his cabinet and put it on firing squad because he was afraid they might, turn against him. How can you do that? And people wonder why he got killed the way he did. I mean, I'm not saying what happened to him is good. No, nobody deserves to be treated that way, tortured, and get murdered. But at the same time, look at what he did. The government was overthrown and Liberia entered a period of crisis. The crisis that lasts for 14 years in 1989 to 2003, destroying everything that had been built. Since the end of the war, Liberia has been trying to recover, but the truth is, we have not returned to the level of growth or strength we once had. The question now is not just about remembering that past, but understanding why it didn't last. That's the part you need to understand. Like, before you do anything, you always have to think about the root cause, right? Why didn't the prosperity last? If you know that as a leader getting in there, those are some of the problems you will try to solve. And how can we build a better, fairer future for every Liberian? Those as the leader, that's your goal, that's your agenda, that's your main focus. This prosperity, why didn't it last? And how can we build a Liberia, a better Liberia that can benefit every Liberian and that can put us back on the map, knowing that we are one of the oldest countries in Africa. Now once you're done with that, then you come back to the next question is, who is holding us back? Why is Liberia not growing all these years? The war is over. Why are we not growing? Why we stay the least developed nation? If you think about it, Liberia is not poor because of the lack of land, gold, or people, or like we don't have intelligent people. We do have intelligent people, but they have been fed the wrong food, the wrong information, the wrong idea. So it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. If you are being fed the wrong information, your intelligence is just going to go as... What I meant is that everything that you're going to know how to do properly is all going to be wrong because what they're teaching you is wrong. That is the problem. And those are so many things as a leader you can approach. Liberia is poor because definitely powerful foreign institutions have kept it that way. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank were created in 1944. And remember this, 1944, what is happening in Africa? Colonization. All right. We got, we have all these different countries in Africa now, and they say they own Africa. So this is when the organization was funded, right? Almost the end of World War II. You had the organization that was built. They were not looking at you as a human being because they already were. You're already a slave. They call you savages or all kind of names, and they killing you, harvesting using your skin for shoes, for belts, for purses, and just for them to show that they got a black person's skin on their feet. They walk in a black. So basically you are animal to them. So they are funding this organization. Do you think this organization is for your best interest? That's what you need to think about first, because everybody always crying to go to the IMF, and also the World Bank. They all crying and going there, but it was not built for you. You need to understand that. Okay, the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank were created in 1944 during the time of colonization. So their goal was never to free African nations, but to manage the economic system so the West could continue to benefit. Liberia has taken many loans from these institutions, but they come with painful conditions. They force our government to cut money for school, right? They're cutting money for school, clinics, and jobs. Why? Because the IMF and the World Bank can be able to get more money, and the West can be able to get more money. Why your kids are not getting any education? Because if you want to control people, those are the things you cut off. Cut off education. Because if they are not informed, anything you say goes. They can't ask any question if they are not informed. The next thing you want to do, simple thing, take away the privilege, take away the opportunities, and take away their resources. So now they take away the opportunity for you to get education. Now they're taking away your resources, which is your natural resources under the ground. And their privilege, they're already taking that away. So at the end, you can ask any question. Every little thing they give you, you say thank you. Thank you. You can be appreciated because you don't know any better. They pressure us to sell our national companies to foreigners. They prevent us from growing our own factories by demanding that we open our markets to outsiders. What happens when you have a free market? When you have a free market in a small country like Liberia, not even a small country like Liberia, in any country for that matter, when you have a free market, what happens? Now your country cannot do well because those little farmers that had their crops, they are not going to do well anymore because you have massive amount of free or cheap product coming to your country. If they are bringing 10,000 tons of pepper and you have your farmer in our country can only grow about 1,000 or maybe 100 pounds, you think they're going to make any money from that? No, they are not, because you got a 10,000 tons coming in that they're going to be selling very cheap. You got big company that using machine to do this work. These farmers are using the hard labor, like simple tools. These are things people need to understand as a leader, why our country going the direction is always heading. Why? What is going on? Instead of helping us rise, they help us stay small. The World Trade Organization, created in 1995, forces countries like Liberia to allow cheap goods from abroad. When Liberia joined in 2006, which I am pretty sure Ellen is well informed, she understands economics, she understands politics. She understands very well that this kind of deal, especially when the country is from the 14-year civil war, you're trying to build yourself up, a line free market is not going to help the country. I'm pretty sure she's well informed. She knows about that. So when she did that, we had to lower our taxes on foreign imports. They destroy our local businesses and kill our chance to grow local industries. Farmers, tailors, and soap makers cannot compete with cheap foreign products. That's just a simple fact. You can't. We are asked to play fair in a game that was designed for us to lose. So no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much farm, how big your farm is, you are not going to win. You always want to lose. And at some point you get tired, you get exhausted. Sooner or later, you quit farming. And now you just depend on that imported product. So you wonder why the country, over 95% of the thing that they consume is all imported products. It's a war that I've been fighting for a long time. Why they are playing chess? We're playing checkers. That game was designed for us to lose. Now, ECOWAS was created in 1975 and was supposed to unite West Africa. That was a goal for ECOWAS, but that is just from the outside. But that's not entirely. But today, it's often served the interests of European powers who still influence a region. A peacekeeping mission sometimes protect leaders who serve foreign goals, not African people. Its money system connects West African economies to the European currency, the euro, the CFA franc, the US dollar, making true independence difficult. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, passed by United States in 2000, gave African country limited access to US markets. Liberia can send goods there, but America set the rules. We can't decide fair prices or grow our own factories freely. This agreement benefited the US more than it benefited, Liberia. China is also a major player in this game. China is the Walmart of the world. They build roads, buildings, and bridges, but bring their own workers and materials. The jobs and contracts don't benefit Liberians. Don't even benefit any country, African country, to work in at all. Because the reason why you bring in a company is to help the citizen to get jobs. You train that citizen to be able to work in those factories, to be able to work with those machines, to be able to work in those fields. But if you can't do that, then the country is not going to develop. Because you're coming in and bringing workers. As if there isn't people in our country. There's people living there. They want jobs. But you do not hire them. You don't train them. Oftentimes, these projects are paid for by loans that include secret agreements. If Liberia can repay, we risk losing lands or mineral rights. Because how it works, you don't pay the loan, you get certain times you don't pay the loan, and that loan they get either take a piece of land for it, they get a land for it. These all these hidden clause in the loan, and those loans you are paying 1,000% interest on the dollar. For example, if they gave you 500 million, they are expecting you to pay them over $2 billion for it. So tell me, if you do the math, tell me how much interest you paying per dollar. You see, Liberians need to wake up, and Liberia need to wake up. The leader need to wake up. Start selling the country, because you are making it difficult for future generation, future leaders. Start selling. Don't be a sellout. Speak for your people. Do things that will benefit your country, not benefit outsider. These loans, if Liberia can pay, basically this is where it end up being. We lose land or we lose minerals. When you look at it, the whole thing, when you look at it from the outside, you look at it cleanly, right? It's development on paper, but dependency in reality. The United Nations was funded in 1945, just as colonizers were beginning to shift from direct control to neo-colonial systems. Instead of helping African fight for freedom, the UN often helped colonizers manage their exit. In Liberia, the UN came during the civil crisis and stayed for many years. So all these organizations, IMF, World Bank, WTO, ECOWAS, AGOA, China, and the UN use loans and aid, trade rules, and peacekeeping to hold us in place. They never intended to truly free us. They were built to keep us in a system that serves others first. Colonialism, debt, and financial hypocrisy is insane. It's one of those things, it's one of those concepts that when you think about it, doesn't make any sense, because this is the person that said they want to help you, but they're not giving you any chance for you to thrive. Not at all. Everything they are doing is just to make your life more difficult and worse. It's literally making you to be slave in your own home, in your own land. But here's the thing: what I didn't understand, saying that Liberia is owing of over 4 billion after the Civil War. I couldn't understand that concept. I was still trying to piece things together, because the uncounted graves, the hidden deaths toll of Liberians, Civil War, it was just crazy. While official narratives saying that it was so and so number, but in reality, if we actually look at it, more people die in the Civil War than the number these international institutions, the NGOs, and post-war reports are telling you. Sometimes said that the approximately 250,000 Liberians lost their lives between 1989 to 2003. Now, when you think about it, I was in Liberia. I was born in the Civil War. I was there till the Civil Wars ended. But I ask you this: who was counting and where? That number, 250,000, became the accepted figure. Not because it was proven, but because it was politically convenient. It was neat, manageable, easy to print it in report. But the truth from those who witness it directly is this: the real number total is likely over 500,000. And let me repeat that again. The actual number of people that died from 1989 to 2003, that number is over 500,000. Why that numbers don't add up? Why the 250,000 don't add up? Because rural massacre went unreported. The majority of Liberians' population lives in the rural areas, regions that were decimated during the war. Entire towns and villages were literally burned to the ground, erased from the map, massacred in silence with no journalists or human rights monitor to bear witness. No satellites, no international observer, and no war tribunal count these lives. Infrastructure collapse meant zero record keeping. Hospital was destroyed. Clinics abandoned. Civil register no longer functioned. When a village was wiped out, there was no one left to file a report. How can a number be accurate when entire population were erased without documentation? How? I saw it. The amount of people that they killed in this country, I saw it. Jumping over body from villages, from town, everywhere. People are so traumatized even up to now, but they just don't know it because no one is paying attention to you. Everybody looking for something to eat to survive. No one cared about emotion. Children were gunned down. The elders were mutilated. Young girls, some barely into puberty, were used, trafficked, and discarded. Family lines, entire bloodline were wiped out within a day. If Liberia war killed only 250,000, then I ask again, where are the other towns? Where are the other people who used to live there? Why is there silence where there used to be voices? The international figure doesn't just omit the dead. They deny the political function of underreporting death. We must understand the minimization of African suffering is not accidental. It is systemic. Underreporting downplays unaccountability. It allows the perpetrators, both local and international, to escape justice. It reduces the urgency for reparation and reconstruction's investment. And most of all, it supports false narrative that the worst is behind us rather than continuing through systems of silence and neglect. The call to reclaim our truth, if we don't wake up, it's never going to happen. As scholars and activists and survivors, we must reclaim the narrative. If we don't challenge these numbers, then we allow our history to be rewritten by those who weren't there. And if we accept the figure that cuts our dead in half, we are complicit in their erasure. That's just a simple fact. This is not about data and it is not about dignity. If 500,000 Liberians die, then 500,000 must be remembered, not just in numbers, but in names, in national memory, in policy, in our classrooms. A quarter of our truth is still alive. And Liberia cannot heal from wounds that the world refused to admit exist. We emerged from that 14-year civil war that killed over 500,000 people and destroyed every institution, but instead of help, it was told it still owned over $4 billion in debt. The question is how and why. Most of that debt was inherited from past regimes, propped up by foreign governments during the Cold War. It included inflated contracts, compounding interest, and deals that never benefited the Liberian people. Yet, the IMF and the World Bank insisted Liberia pay, and so the country was dragged through the structural adjustments and austerity, forced to cut jobs, privatize services, and open itself to more foreign control. In 2009, Liberia was allowed to buy back $1.2 billion in commercial debt, but only after donors supplied the $38 million needed to do so. In 2010, Liberia received debt forgiveness through the HIPC initiative, which relieves over $4.6 billion in debt, but it wasn't free. It came only after Liberia had followed strict conditions, including budget caps, public sector cuts, and privatization. Instead of recognizing Liberia's suffering, the global institution uses weakness as leverage. If these financial systems were truly designed to help Africa, they would have cancelled Liberia war debts without conditions. They would have audited corrupt leaders and helped the foreign corporations who helped create the crisis accountable. But they didn't. So tell me, are they actually here to help? Are these organizations in Africa everywhere, smelling everywhere, looking for money and resources? Are they there to help? They're like dogs. You know, the hunters, the hunting dogs, looking for animal to hunt. That's what it is. They're not. The truth is, they are not here to help us. You just gotta Wake up and understand that. If they were there to help you, your problem would have already been solved. Why would you tell the country that was in the 14-year civil war that lost almost half of that population, and they are traumatized, and they are kids who were forced into this war that they didn't know anything. They were just babies, 6 years old, 5 years old. They took them from their family and they gave them guns to start killing people, start doing drugs, and some of them even killed their own family as an initiation to show how brave they were. Now the war is over. They are traumatized. Don't you think if you were there to help, don't you think you would have sent funding, come with ideas to help these kids get off the street, clean the street, make them understand psychological help and all of that? And even the people get some sort of a psychological help for them and create jobs for them. But you told them they're owing over $4 billion. And you not only they get this, what I'm saying, the news say they free Liberia debt, but they didn't free Liberia from that. They actually, like, from the outside, that's what it looked like. All the different structural adjustment, these are all the things they do, take away, bring private company, take the jobs from the citizens. None of them had jobs. What is worse? From the 14-year civil war, you had no jobs, you had no money, nothing to feed your family. And you think that is going to help people? No. A lot of people die from heart attack. A lot of people die from trauma. You know, there's a lot of things happening in the country, but nobody care about that. But the organization say this, they helping. And then when the news, here's the thing: if the lion do not write a story, the hunter is always going to be the hero. All these organizations that write these newspapers, they all work for the West. All of them work for the West. Even when we the black people, we print we write our article, we had to print it to the West. We don't have any printing press in our country that is the way they said it, that will be respectable. So when you write something, you bring it, look at it. If it is not a good image for the West, they'll tell you how to edit it. Oh, you got to do it this way. That's the only way. Try to convince you, manipulate you, and then you keep burying the truth. At the end of the day, it seems that nothing happening. It's almost like what happened in Congo. How many people still die in Congo per day? Sudan, Somalia, Cameroon, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso. The list go on. Senegal. None of these countries, people are dying every day. These institutions say they're there to help, but they're not helping. They fund the process war just for mineral. So what they gave Liberia is not forgiveness, it was control. This institution, whether financial, trade-based, diplomatic, or military, were created during or after colonization, not to support liberation, but to reshape it into dependency. And until Liberia break free, until we learn, we wake up and start doing things our own way, we keep dreaming about free Liberia. We keep dreaming about better days, but better days will never come because it's all in the system. The system needs to be fixed. And that brings me to my next point, the Constitution. Our own Constitution holding us down. But the sad thing is we didn't write that Constitution. We didn't. The leaders that was in Liberia first, which are considered to be foreigners, they wrote that Constitution because they were not citizens of Liberia. They all considered themselves to be foreigners. All their kids, their children, they all get education abroad. All their family live abroad. They only came for a visit. And when they came for a visit, they stayed for a little bit. All their kids got education abroad. When they were sick, they take their family abroad to get treatment. Even when they themselves are sick, they fly themselves over. Even up to now, they still doing the same system. So that if you are Liberian, you think that system is going to work for your people? That time has passed. Most of those people, those settlers that came through the American colonization society, most of those families are no longer in Liberia running any power position. If they are, the system has changed. I'm pretty sure they are well informed now that you cannot rule the country like that. These are your own people. So why can't you guys amend the Constitution? These are problems that many people don't talk about. The Constitution. was written long time ago, and part of it are being used to keep Liberia weak. The Constitution gives the president too much power when it comes to foreign agreements. Right now, the president can sign long contracts with foreign companies, some lasting 30, 40, even 50 years. These contracts are often unfair, and once they are signed, they are hard to cancel. So basically, let's just say you can't cancel it. Nada. It's not going to happen. These old laws were made during times when foreign companies had more power than the Liberian people. They allow our resources to be taken for decades while our communities remain poor. There are no strong rules in the Constitution to force transparency. The people don't get to vote on these deals. Even the lawmakers only need a simple majority to approve foreign contracts. This is dangerous because a small group of people decide the future of our land, gold, oil, water without the voice of the Liberian people. If we can change this part of the Constitution, everything can begin to change. We must pass the new laws that say no foreign contract can last longer than 10 years without a full review. All contracts must be shared publicly before being signed. Communities living on resource land must approve the deals. Don't just come and then throw them out of there and do the same thing that enthusiasm were doing to the Indians. That's crazy. And the two-third majority in the legislature, not a simple vote, must approve any agreement with foreign company or country. These changes will put power back in the hands of the people. When these changes are made, Liberia will no longer be tied to long-term unfair deals. We will be able to take back control of our gold, oil, iron ore, land, and forests. We will be able to use our own resources to build schools, roads, and hospitals. Our children will have jobs, and our government will stop depending on foreign aid. Foreign aid to me is an insult. Foreign aid to me is an insult to the nation. Foreign aid is an insult to a nation. That's like you being a father in the home and you are begging on the street for the other people to feed your kids, when your responsibility as a father is to feed your kids. That's embarrassing. Your children are watching you. Your children are standing watching you, begging other fathers that have other responsibility to help you feed your kids while your kids are there watching. When they grow up, when they finally grow up, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to do the same thing you're doing. The same exact thing. Give me. That's an insult. You should be ashamed of yourself if you depend so much on foreign aid. When you have all the resources, you can be able to make changes with your constitution. You can amend the constitution. People amend the constitution all the time. They did it here. They amend the constitution, and now they got gay right. Gay people can get married. So these things can be changed. I'm just saying these things can be changed. So it need to be amended. And this is not just about fixing the law. It is about reclaiming our future. What is wrong with Liberia today? Liberians are suffering every day. Most people have no jobs. Over 80% of the population is unemployed or barely surviving by hustling. Over 70% of young people with degrees walk the street looking for anything to do, still remain jobless. The country imports almost everything. We bring in rice, oil, clothes, cement, even soap and water. That is embarrassing. This is why it's so much easy to put a sanction on Liberia. It's so much easy to put sanction on other African countries. It's so easy because you don't make your own stuff. Let me tell you, if the U.S. economy is doing bad, my economy shouldn't be doing bad, because you know what? It had nothing to do with me. The U.S. is not Liberia, so it shouldn't impact me at all. The only people that, when I am doing bad, or when they are doing bad, I should be doing bad, are those I make businesses with. But U.S. is way overseas. I'm in Africa. We're over a billion. It's a billion population. By 2050, Africa population will be 2.5 billion. And most of those people are going to be under the age of 25. So there'll be young people that are willing to work. So you depending on other countries, everything we do, we can do everything right in Africa. All our businesses can be done right in Africa. We don't need to bring it overseas. We don't need to do any of that. All our best education system can be right in Africa. We can be able to write our own history. The real one. Not the West, not the one the West gave us, which is not the true history. They try to hide all the truth from us. They give us what we need to know. And then forget the rest. You have to literally decay before you can find the truth. This particular system makes us dependent, weakens our currency, and kills our local businesses. Our farming sector has collapsed in Liberia, even in most African countries. Liberia has over 4 million hectares of federal land, enough to feed the entire nation. The farmers have no tractors, no seed, no looms, and no roads to transport their crops. The government say it supports agriculture, but the support never reaches the real farmers. Imported food is cheaper, so our local farmers can survive. When somebody even try really hard and farm a product, to bring the product to town to sell it, 50% get damaged because the road is horrible and the condition is bad. And that 50% that they will bring to town, they're going to buy it cheap from them because the market is flooded with cheap products because we have free market. So he's going to go home empty-handed, frustrated. He spent half of a year preparing those crops. All the man effort, all the energy he put in there, all the hard work, the labor, he doesn't get it back because we got free market. Child labor, neglect, and trafficking are ongoing crisis. Public budgets vanish, children working dangerous jobs from selling on the streets to mining in daily pits. Many are abused and most have forgotten. The country has almost no safety system to protect them. Corruption has become normal. Leaders steal money meant for hospitals and roads and schools. Ghost workers get paid while real teachers and nurses go months without salary. Public contracts are given to friends, not professionals. Given to family members, not professionals. Laws are not enforced. The Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission is weak and often controlled by politics. Electricity is almost non-existent. Liberia has the most expensive electricity in the world, 54 cents per kilowatt hour, 54 cents. Less than 20% of the population has consistent access to power. No country can industrialize or educate its people in darkness. This makes it impossible to run factories, businesses, or even charge a cell phone. No light means no progress. No light means no technological advancement. Our water system is broken. In many parts of Monrovia and rural areas, there is no clean drinking water. People drink from creeks, river, or oil wells. There are no sewage systems. Human waste flows through neighborhoods, bring disease and death. Go to waterside. Go to the waterside, go to Broad Street, shit are running down the street, and these leaders driving around with a fancy car, most expensive car, 70,000, 80,000 cars, 100,000 car, and your street there is shit running down the street. In the marketplaces, people are selling stuff that is the shit everywhere. And you go to the marketplace, see the trash is piled up. And sometimes, one time I was there, they were moving the trash, there were bodies in the trash. You don't live like that as a human being. These are things people don't want to talk about. And I will talk about it. Because these things need to change. We are in 2025. The roads are broken, buildings are falling, schools have no desk, and clinics have no medicine. We depend on foreign aid and NGOs for everything. From education to healthcare, the system is run by outsiders. Liberia does not produce anything. We import matches, things like matches to light fire. We import our pens, cups, beds, clothes, and food, everything. We import everything. We have no factories, no processing plants, no equipment manufacturing. Everything we use is made in someone else's country. We are renters in our own lands, slaves in our own lands. We spend billions of dollars a year for imported products, as if we don't have over 4 million hectares of land for us to make our own. And we have all the resources to be able to make our own. Here's the thing. Raw material is cheaper than finished product. Finished product is 10 times the price of raw material. So why don't we have a plan to do our own finished product? There are 54 countries in Africa. What truly embarrassing is that Liberia was the first to gain independence, not just in West Africa, but in the entire continent in 1847. Yet today, despite being the oldest independent nation in the region, Liberia is one of the least developed nations. Yes, it is written that we were never colonized. People can be excited about that, say that, oh, we're never colonized. Yes, man, you were colonized, just didn't know it. Based on everything you just heard, does that sound like a nation that was free? Does that sound like people that was not colonized? They say Liberia was funded by free slaves. True, but let's be honest. Were they sharing power? Hell no. The foreign system works perfectly for them because they live like foreigners. Even today, many of their descendants live overseas. I don't blame them. They didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying, if you say you're a Liberian, you should help develop the country. That's all. If you're a Liberian and you love other people's country than your own country, then what does that say about you? That's like you having a wife, but you don't pay attention to your wife, but you love other people's wife. You want to go and start chasing other people's wife. So what does that say about you as a man? You're useless. Completely useless. Leave your wife and go chase other people's wife. And she's seeing it. It's sad. She can see you, but she just don't have the strength to say anything, to do anything. That's how it is like. When you leave your country, you love other people's country than your own country. You are useless. The indigenous people were completely excluded from decision making then. And it's no surprising that even now, the majorities of Liberians have no voice in how Liberia is run. Foreign companies control our gold, iron ore, diamonds, rubber, timber. These resources are exported raw. We don't process them. We don't benefit from them. We just watch them leave. This is not by accident. It is a system of dependency, corruption, and foreign control. A system that keeps Liberia poor and broken. But the question is, what can we do? As people, what can we do? Liberia must take control of its own food. Because if you cannot feed your people, you are not a leader. If you cannot clean your street, you shouldn't be a leader. If you cannot create connectivity, like connect the roads so that all the different counties can be able to come and bring their products in the city, you shouldn't be a president. If you cannot provide transportation for your people, you shouldn't be president at all. If you will be enjoying living luxurious life than your citizens, than the people, then you shouldn't be a leader at all. That's not what a leadership is. The leadership is you don't be in the center of the circle. You serve. A leader means serve. That's what a leadership is. You know, my dad used to say this. We will have a seed and plant a tree, and we might never sit under that tree. Let me repeat that again so you can hear it. He said, we can go and get the seed and plant a tree. And that tree that we plant, we may never sit on it. You sacrifice not for yourself, but for the people that will come after you. That tree that he planted, before it come to fruition or before it grow, he will already be gone. So who is he planting it for? His children, the people. That's what a good leader does. A good president, that's what you do. You don't, everything's not supposed to be about you. First, you're supposed to distribute 1,000 tractors, 10,000 motor pumps to small holder farmers. Build 15 regional agro-processing centers for rice, cassava, palm, and cocoa. Launch a national food storage, irrigation, and road to farm infrastructure programs. Ban or heavily tax food imported during local harvest season. That's what you do as a smart president. Farmers need real tools, tractors, irrigation, seeds, and roads. The government must build food factories in every county. When local farmers harvest, the government must protect them by reducing imports. If we grow it, we must eat it. Our gold, iron, rubber, and land must be under Liberian control. All mining contracts must be reviewed and renegotiated. No more 50 years agreements that rob our future. The country must build refining plants to process our own minerals. The money must stay here and be used to build roads, schools, and hospitals. We have one of the worst hospital system in our country. 100,000 patients per doctor. It probably more than that. Last time I checked, that's what it was. 100,000 patients per doctor. So you take people to the hospital, there's sick people laying everywhere, like probably 50 or 100 of them, and there's no doctor to take care of them. Some of them even stay there longer enough that people had to take them back so that they can be able to use traditional medicine to help them. People cannot even get annual checkup because if you go there, probably they will not see you. You know, this is crazy. We must start producing our own foods, our own goods. Bread factories, soap factories, furniture plants, sewing workshops, and tool makers must be built. The government should train young people with welding, carpentry, machine work. The future will not come through handouts. It must be built. It was not come through every day begging. Your hand is in front of everybody, going to the UN assembly, begging everybody, telling the whole international community, you should be ashamed of yourself. Wake up, start selling yourself, because you take all the products. They bribe you. You take that money, put it in your pocket. Now you go stand, have your country dirty and shit. You go stand in front of the international community to respect you. You're not getting respect by that. No respect. You're not going to get any respect from anybody if you can't even clean your own country. You can't keep your own house in order. No one going to give any respect. So start writing the pretty speeches. Start going there and doing all these things. Oh, we beg you, or give her this, or give her that. No. Work. Use your hand properly. You got all the resources. All you have to do is these companies that come to mind, you should give an agreement. There should be an agreement. If you come here, you bring your company, the only way we'll allow you to come here, build a refinery here. This is what we're going to do. I want to give you a 10-year contract. 5 years time, you're going to build the finished product company, refinery or refining, whatever it is, right? Then by the end of that 10 years, all the equipment that you use are all going to stay with Liberian. You're not taking it back. That's the deal. Because we're tired of you coming in here to exploit all the time. So now, this time, this is how we're going to do things. Iron ore is not leaving our country anymore. This sand that they take over there for free is one of the most expensive sand in the world. They use it to make bulletproof glasses. They're very expensive. High-end glasses. So you're allowing the people to come and take it free. No more taking anything free like in Liberia. No more taking oil out of our country to go and refine it in different countries. No, you build a refinery right in Liberia. When you dig the oil, you take it right to the refinery, make our gasoline, make our diesel. It should be made right in Liberia. Because we're tired with this shit. Y'all come here, y'all take our stuff, and we stay in poverty. And you know why? We are not getting electricity from anybody else. We are going to build our own electricity right here. That's all we're going to do. Plant solar system. Let's do green energy. Hydro plant. We need electricity for all. We must expand our hydro plant and build solar grid across the country. Man, it doesn't matter like how many land we take. Young people should be trained and paid to install and manage solar systems. With light comes business. With business come jobs. Liberia must control its energy. Expand Man, Coffee hydropower and St. Paul River projects. Deploy solar grids in every rural district. Launch solar Liberia crops to train and deploy 6,000 youth energy technicians. Mandate local assembly solar kits and lithium battery production. Water is life. The Liberian Water and Sewer Corporation must be rebuilt. Boreholes must be drilled in rural areas. Cities must have clean water and working sewage system. A healthy country starts with clean water and sanitation. We must build with our own hands. Local materials like clay, sand, stones must be used to build homes, schools, and clinics. National construction team must be trained to fix roads and build new communities. Corruption must be stopped. Government workers must be paid digitally so ghost names disappear. All public officials must declare what they own. Salaries must be cut for lawmakers and big officials. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission must have the power to arrest and prosecute anyone who steals from the people. We must stop depending on imports. The government must invest in Liberian businesses to produce what we use. School uniforms, shoes, desks, chalk, cement, and roofing must be made in Liberia. Ministries and offices must buy only Liberian-made products. Education must change. School must teach farming, electricity, trade skills, and local history. Students must learn by doing, not just reading. You got to be tangible. You got to be able to touch it. You got to be able to fix it. So hands-on. Let's do most of the thing hands-on. High school should partner with farms, shops, and workshops. Liberia must love Liberia. We must wear our own clothes, speak our own languages with pride, and teach our children our true history. We must honor our ancestors who fought for this freedom. We must stand up to the world and say, Liberia is not for sale. We are tired of this shit. Liberia has everything it needs to succeed. We have the land, we have the minerals, we have the rivers, we have the people. What we lack is courage, unity, and clear leadership. The foreigners will not free us. I guarantee you that. We must free ourselves. Let us stop begging and start building. We're quick to show our hands every time. Give me. No. Let's stop doing that. Let us rise with our own hands, our own voices, our own hearts. The time is now. Liberia must be free, man. Liberia gotta be free. Let's rise up and be Liberian. Civil Voice Liberia. Your voice, your future.
Voices united in harmony, echoes of the African sky. Reggie's beat like a rhythm.